Hey guys, welcome to the Nick Bahe YouTube page. You know what you need to do. You need to subscribe, you need to ring the bell, you need to like the page, you need to leave a comment. I appreciate you. Here we are, we're here. We're back. Nebraska's 2-game winning streak. Ruud's here. He's got a smile on his face.
All we do is win, Nick. All we do is win.
I'm getting tired of winning, to be honest with you. I'm just getting tired of these winning recap.
We need a little controversy. We need a loss. Just have something to talk about. This winning just get tired of it, you know?
Just get so tired of it. Hey, the game recap pod is brought to you by Onyx Automotive. They're the best of Omaha. #1 luxury car dealer. They offer industry-leading brands like BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover. Unbelievable location, 115th and Dodge, right in the heart of Omaha. Go check them out. Go to onyxautomotive.com. Drive Onyx, the new standard. And this pod is also brought to you by Shoot 360 Lincoln. We're just about 3 weeks away from our grand opening. It's the world's most advanced basketball training facility. It's coming to Lincoln mid-October. It's a national franchise. We specialize in shooting, passing, and ball handling. It's me, my brother. We're the owners. We got a great team. You got NBA level technology that can be used by players of all ages and skill levels, 3rd and 4th grade rookies to college level pros. Become a member at shoot360.com/Lincoln. Fill out that I'm interested form. Spots are filling up, so go do it now. Shoot360.com/Lincoln. It will unlock your game. Can I start just with this question to you, Ruud?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling at halftime? And don't you lie to me. Don't you dare lie to me. How are you feeling? It's 7-7. It's halftime. How is Ruud feeling at halftime? Louisiana Tech tied with Nebraska 7 apiece. How you feeling? Be real.
I'll give you my game day. So it was a special game day to start with because I brought my daughter to her first game.
This is
so
okay.
Have you brought your kids to their game yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so she's 2.5, and it was actually an amazing experience. You don't remember sometimes like how amazing everything is if you've never seen it before.
Right.
The band, the stadium, the people, like the mute. Like she was just going every time there was fireworks. She was going, "Where's the boom boom?" She like wanted more of it. So that part was amazing, and I was just like thinking about like, wow, this is incredible. Like everything is amazing if you've never seen this before.
Yeah, we get
used to it. But Nick, there's 87,000 people in one place, chanting together, and as a 2-year-old, you're probably like, what is this place?
What's going on?
What is this arena?
Yeah.
But anyway, so
no, that's great though.
That was my game day. But also I left at half because she was done.
I was going to say the fact that she made 2 quarters.
Yeah, 2 quarters. So we had to go home. So I had the game taped.
Got it.
I hustled.
Got it.
But what was my take after half?
Just curious where you were at, because it's easy to say now, like, I'm curious how you felt.
I didn't doubt we were going to win that game.
Me neither. I'm not going to be disingenuous and act like.
I definitely thought like we could be in for one of those ugly second half, like really have to try games where you're like, you're scraping down the last minute to pull out a win.
Right.
I thought we were going to win. I felt we were okay. But it wasn't like a first half to be thrilled about.
No, that's it. So you and I are in lockstep. I did not necessarily think Nebraska is going to lose this game or anything like that. But I also felt like, man, that's another bad first half.
Yeah.
You know, I want to start talking with the offense, and we'll kind of work through the 3 phases. And of course, we're going to talk a ton of Haarberg and Sims now as we move into Michigan week. But so in the first half, Nebraska had 5 offensive possessions.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 punts, 1 missed field goal, the one at the end of the half. They had 1 touchdown, but they needed a fake field goal to keep that drive alive for the only touchdown. They did have a touchdown called back. Hey, get your hands off my hiney. Had the long touchdown run that was called back. It was was that holding on Washington? I think it was
Washington or Kemp. It was like an either or.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were both out
like,
there,
kind of like doing their hands in close to the chest. Like they're taught to do that. They're taught to hold, but like your job is to feel now it's time to let go. Right. They're holding. They always do hold, but you got to know when it's in here and when they start reaching is when you got to start pushing.
When did you see Rule after the game? You could tell Rule didn't like those calls. Did you?
It's holding, but it's their job to be a 1 count less.
Right.
They can hold. You can hold until your guy starts really reaching and getting.
Yes.
When the ball carrier goes by, you gotta then you gotta like go with it.
Yes.
You can't just keep holding on.
Right.
So
right.
I have less sympathy for that kind of holding.
Okay, so they did have a touchdown called back.
Yeah.
The passing game was not good. In the first half, Heine was 4 for 12 for 63 yards. I thought the offensive line struggled a bit again, especially in pass protection. And even the first play of the game, it just, I don't know. It's so easy, and I hate that we always do this. Like, we criticize. We're all like, no, the offensive coordinator always is just the most easy target to second guess. But it's just like, start the game, play action pass. You get it like a 7-yard sack right out the gates.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. But here's kind of why I want to bring up the first half and then you contrast it with how the second half played out. Sure. And Rule can say this, and I heard some other people kind of say this on Twitter after the game. I guess you can sit here and say, like, hey, you know what? This is what Nebraska does, man. This is, you know what? They wear you down with body blows and body blows and body blows. And then in the second half, the game flips. And I'm just sitting here like, was that the case? Or
that wasn't body blows. It was like us not good. We played better in the second half.
Right.
Body blows are like, we keep pounding you 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, making first downs. We might not be scoring, but we're getting like power. Like, it's like power running first downs versus like, sort of sloppy football at times.
Yes.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Well, for me, I just, you put it perfect. Like, what? To me, it's like, okay, was that the case, or was it that Satterfield finally really committed to running the ball and being committed to a physical downhill attack? Because in the first half, Nebraska had threw the ball 12 times, ran the ball 13 times. In the second half, they threw the ball 6 times, ran it 35 times. Now, some of that is because you get up, but there's a little bit of chicken and the egg thing here, where it's like, I thought it was the first possession of the third quarter, 9 plays, all 9 were runs, 85 yards. Anthony Grant got going. They went into 22 personnel, I formation. I think they had 4 ISOs to Grant. They ran some toss sweeps. Like, there just was a committed kind of play call to it. So I'm just trying to fit, I think right now we're slowly falling into this trap of being like, because the last 2 games you could make the case like it's what they do. They wear you down, and then second half the levee breaks. And I'm like, I don't know if it's quite like that.
I just see this offense. Like, I just still feel like we won this game, and I feel like we got away with some things. So my big takeaway is like, I did see us shifting to becoming more of a running team. Like, even if it was from first half to second half, like we started running our quarterback like we're an option football, run first, QB centered run team.
Right.
Which wasn't clear the first game. We ran our quarterback a decent amount, but it was different. Like,
it was
we ran options.
Yes.
Like, we ran with the intent of like, that's what we're doing. We're running options versus like, the QB zones, it is, but that's a little bit more like, I would say it's a little bit more of a different system in my mind. But like, we're doing these things where it's like 3 times a game, somebody goes the wrong direction and it's a blown play. We fumble a snap. We blow a protection 2 or 3 times, like really egregious mistakes. Not like, hey, the receiver missed his block. It's like, no, we just go the wrong direction.
Yes.
Like, these guys are running different plays.
Right. Or a tackle, literally, like there's just
when the tackle
comes untouched.
Yeah, it's different. Like, our tackle got beat on a pass set versus like they forgot to block that guy.
Yes.
I still see so much of that like those are the plays you get killed against good teams because they sack, fumble, score, and it's over.
Right.
And like, we had a sack, fumble, we recovered it. We fumbled the ball, Heine gets on it. We, like little things. Bleekrode, I think his knee was down when he caught the ball on that special team.
Right.
So somebody has to tell me the rule on that, because in the NFL it doesn't matter, right? Knee can be down, you're not touched. His knee, I slow-mo'd it, and it's really close. It looked like he caught it as his knee was like, was coming off the ground. So technically, I think he was down
right
on the catch. I don't know. I think they give you a little leeway there. But anyway, that is one play. Two, the kickoff return, they called a hold. It was borderline kick return got called back. So, I don't know, man. I'm still seeing so many
totally agree.
sloppy mistakes versus the physical, that guy's just beating me, or you didn't make the block, or you missed the tackle.
I totally agree.
It's more like we're just not playing clean.
And it's one thing we all know, yes, the top two running backs are out. They were not a deep wide receiver core to begin with, and they've gotten decimated by injuries.
Yeah.
Their quarterbacks, Sims and Haarberg, aren't Heisman Trophy caliber guys. We're all aware of that, and we can understand that, and we can mentally adjust our expectations according to that. What gets frustrating is the things you're laying out. It's like, okay, you 2-3 times a game, you can't have just a wasted play because the Heine turns this way, Grant goes that way, and and you can't put the ball on the carpet 2 to 3 times a game. And there's that old line that Mike Riley had it. It was like, never look past something in victory you wouldn't in defeat. And this game was the poster child for that. There was a lot of shit that if Nebraska would have lost, people would be going this. Like,
I mean, if the knee down on the fake punt, if the kick return goes, if we don't jump on those 2 fumbles, we might have got beat.
Yeah, or even so here. Yeah. So I wrote down here's the fortunate for Nebraska. Louisiana Tech dropped an interception early in the game.
Yep.
The ball, literally, the corner, it goes right through his hands. Heine hit a corner. It was classic, like the corner went off his man. Tommy Hill fumbles the kickoff return.
Oh, and I didn't even talk about that. That was on my list of special teams gaffes.
Yes. Yeah. So we're all, because we're just going where you took it, and it's great.
Yeah.
But Tommy Hill, I mean, if Nebraska's going to get on that ball,
I don't know how he got it back.
I don't know how he got it back.
He was out of the play, and he got in. I give him credit. He went and fought for the ball.
Yes.
But I think he stole it under the pile.
I agree. But Louisiana Tech recovers that. They're in at the 20.
Yeah, man.
We said Haarberg, blindside sack fumble, Nebraska got it back. Haarberg fumbled snap, he got it back. Louisiana Tech kickoff return, shaky, got called back.
Yeah.
Now it goes the other way, a little bit unfortunate. Could have gone either way. Haarberg 75-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
Grant 70-yard touchdown run. Alex Bullock gets called for the holding. So it goes both ways. You can sit there and do that tit for tat, but at the same time, I just think this game, there even was a play, and we'll get to this to the defense. It was one of the first busts they had early in the game on a 3rd down. Louisiana Tech had a guy running over the middle, kind of down the seam, and he was wide open. Yeah. And the Louisiana Tech quarterback just flat missed him.
Yeah.
So these are the kinds of things like Michigan's not going to miss that guy.
I know. That's the truth.
And Wisconsin's not going to miss that guy, and all those kinds of things. So to me, it was a weird game where Nebraska wins. There's things you look at and you go, man, they did run the ball better in the second half. Haarberg had 157 yards rushing. Grant looked pretty good, but man, there's just still like a sloppiness to this right now that is concerning, where it's like, it feels like Nebraska got away with some sloppy stuff the last 2 games because of who they were playing.
And they did, because the sloppiness lost them the first 2.
Yes.
And the sloppiness didn't necessarily go away. They just kind of were better than the other team.
Right.
That was it. It was all and so if you play somebody equal or better than you, you're never going to win.
And so it's hard, because on one hand, I was sitting here kind of complaining about some of not necessarily complaining about the rushing, because the numbers end up good. I mean, Nebraska ends up running for 312 yards.
Yeah.
Again, Haarberg, $157, Grant, 135, but it's kind of how Nebraska, the sloppiness throughout that, and then how they arrived at that. I just thought Satterfield kind of was in his pick-a-play mode and wanted to try to throw the ball. And I get, in his mind, he's like, listen, at some point we got to find a passing game. And I understand that, but
that's what's so hard. And we I know we talk about this sometimes, but it's really hard when we're sitting here, we criticize play calls. I never want to do that.
I know.
those guys have to do what they got to do to keep, that offense going. So like, it's hard to tell them which plays to call, but in the end, like if we're not effective and we're not clean at what we're doing, I think that's the only place I think I want to criticize is like, if we're not effective and we're not clean, that's my issue. And I think there's some big positives to take away from this too, which we'll get into. But I think what we're looking at is this isn't good enough to beat Michigan. This isn't good enough to beat
Maryland,
Illinois, or Maryland, or Michigan State. Like what we're looking at is what will it take to win in the Big Ten, and still probably not what we saw.
I agree. And the other things to keep in mind, and geez, I feel like I'm like Johnny negative here, but and I'm not. We're gonna get some good stuff. But like I know. Well, but keep in mind, like because right now I could imagine maybe some people listen. It's like Jesus, they ran for 312 yards. Keep in mind, Louisiana Tech gave up 40 points and 562 total yards and 249 yards rushing last week to North Texas.
Yeah.
So before you start, King Kong beating your chest here, North Texas ran for 250 on them, hung 40 on them.
We played
their crib.
We played a half of football. We got to be able to play a full game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were a half, and
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, the sloppiness aside is just like, how much does that contrasting first half to second half also go back to Satterfield? It just seemed like in the second half, like the third quarter, it was like, okay, it was like I formation, Borkature and Fedoni are in. We're going to run ISOs right down their esophagus.
I mean, we ran a lot of ISO, a lot of power, and we ran the true option, like Nebraska 95 option stuff, which, Nick, I'm telling you, I don't know enough about Satterfield. My guess is he's never ran that in the last decade.
No.
This is we come to Nebraska, Rule meets with Osborne. He likes what he saw from the history of Nebraska, and he's like incorporating a touch of that because he's got Ron Brown, he's got Osborne. Literally, you're learning from the masters on this stuff, right? So that's good, but it's also like it's a big shift for Satterfield. So it's hard to be that and like we're gonna spray it around the field this game. You know? Like and you kind of are one or the other usually.
And I think at some point you gotta, and I get that, like, you have to try to have some semblance of an aerial attack. Like, I get it. I'm certainly not suggesting you never throw the ball, but there's a difference between that and like trying to establish what you're doing. Because the other thing too is like, he gets to Nebraska, Osborne, the history, he's got Ron Brown. He's got two quarterbacks whose strengths are like running the ball too. So you gotta play to your strengths. Yeah. So
I'll give him credit for doing that.
Yes, I will too. I don't know. I want to, like, if people are like, this is Nebraska just wears people down, third, fourth quarter, they pop them. I'm like, that's not how I necessarily saw the last two games.
No, I think that is what they would like to be doing,
right?
If they could play clean. I think if they play clean,
oh yes,
they will kind of, because their style right now is like they are trying to do a few things like the control. I mean, they are going decently slow. Like they're trying to hold the ball and they're trying to keep the other team's defense on the field. That plays into that. So I think the time of possession, like when I think wear you down, I think I am going to hold this ball till you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is how you do it more than anything. It's power football, true, but sometimes you can get it throwing. It's like, we're going to throw it, 52-yard, 2 to 5 yard routes that, we get little dinky, like those kind of wear you down too. Sure. You got to tackle all game and, my stand-up routine on.
Yes. You're the Netflix center.
And next is the DBs are going down. They won't be tackling much now.
That's so good. It's still I thought about the other day and I chuckled to myself.
What's the deal with DBs not being able to tackle in a long game?
How come the DBs always are the first ones to wave the white flag? Am I right? Make some noise, huh? That'd be great.
Any DBs out there?
Oh,
I knew it.
Yeah. Anthony Grant, I thought, played well.
Yep.
Again, we talked about it. I still he's the best pure runner of the crew, and I thought he showed that. He also is pretty comfortable, like running ISOs and stuff. He's pretty good with that. It's it'll be interesting to see how, Emmett Johnson came in. They didn't play Ives yesterday, I don't believe. But
so here's what I saw. I saw they put in Emmett because they had to.
Yeah.
Because you got to give Grant a break. He took 22 carries, but he was out there a lot. Like sometimes they brought in Billy Sims to just sort of like, they're not trying to play anybody else. So I don't know who these Ives kids is, or who else we have at running back, but whoever they are not ready. They were not ready this week because they were not going to play them. They were not going to see the field. So maybe those guys just have a little bit more growing to do, and they'll be physically able to do it. But you could tell right now we are so thin that I think Grant kind of hobbled off once.
You're like,
Nick,
oh my God,
Nick, we are in massive trouble if he gets hurt.
Yes.
He cannot get hurt.
Yeah. If honestly, we did that whole in the club thing. I'm not so sure he's not the most valuable player on the team now. I'm serious. I know that sounds
Over
crazy.
Heine, maybe.
Yes, I'm saying because you got at least Sims. You have Sims, someone
the
who's
comparable from Grant to the next guy is I think is maybe for terms of who's going to touch the ball. That's our offense, man. He is our offense.
The comparable, first the starter to the backup across all positions. Now, some of this is we don't know Emmett Johnson, but freshman, not a huge guy. Can't be it's about as big of a drop off as you're going to get with Grant and then Emmett Johnson. Yeah. So, but no, I thought he played well. I mean, the passing game, they end up 8 of 17, 170 yards, did throw a touchdown. Fedoni, I mean, he's got it. I mean, what streak at this point is more impressive? Ripken's games played streak.
DiMaggio had 56 hits? 56 hits?
I think it was something. It was in the 50s.
Ripken was 2,370 games.
Or Fedoni catching a touchdown against Colorado in mop-up time. No,
I want to thank you for all that you've done for the game, Thomas. For all that you're going to do for the game, Thomas. And people are going to remember you forever.
Did you see our buddy Chris found? I didn't know that there was an actual gif of him, the big guy, walking into a room.
I mean, the big guy he is
the greatest thing ever.
He's like a teddy bear that is
that they lock him in. He lives in Canton, Ohio, at the Hall of Fame. He's just got a room in there. They feed him, and then they let him out to go tell people that they're coming.
It's June 13th. It's it's time for your week of
door knocks. To go out there and tell people the good news.
I've been waiting all year for this.
I tell you what, that's a hell of a gig. I'm not sure. I mean, you talk about delivering incredible news to these grown alpha males that are just sobbing at the news.
Cry.
They all cry. It's great.
What's the equivalent of good news? Who gets to give that?
Remember Publishers Clearinghouse when they would show
you won the lottery, right?
Yeah.
You won the lottery,
right?
And you get to give somebody $1 million.
Do they still do that?
I'm sure they do.
I mean, that used to be a big thing where you'd see commercials on it. I'm like, wow, could you imagine doorbell rings? Someone's giving me $1 million. Who gets to provide the good news to people?
That's probably the closest thing. If you get to give somebody $1 million, they're like, oh my God.
Right. You get to be, but he's pretty close. This guy's fantastic.
Makes a lot of people happy.
Let's talk Haarberg here. Let's talk Haarberg and the quarterback situation. So obviously Sims wasn't 100% apparently, and wasn't all week. Haarberg starts. And where are you at with what do you do now? Haarberg is 2-0 as a starter. Do you feel like it's clear cut? I know Sip after the game was big on don't overcomplicate this. You've won 2 in a row with Haarberg. You got to stick with Haarberg.
Nick, I mean, I woke up today and there was no QB controversy in my mind.
Right.
To me, it's done. It's Haarberg until he shows you he can't play. There's nothing about Sims that to me that he hasn't been here, that he hasn't earned anything. He just walked in and
very
given
true.
the keys, right? So he played some at Georgia Tech, but to me, it's we've won 2 in a row with Haarberg, and he played pretty good. I mean, Heine is athletic. I mean, you see him run; he was pulling away from people.
Yeah.
So So Sims did the same thing against Colorado, had like a nice run. So like I would say they're almost equivalent in terms of like speed. Sims is a little bit bigger. I'd say Sims at times I kind of almost like the way he runs a little better than Heine.
I agree.
But Heine has been effective. Heine's won you games, right?
Mhm.
So until Heine loses or until Heine just like the wheels are coming off, I think Heine has shown that he deserves to keep going. He's winning the games. That's all that matters. And he has been playing pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for is the guy that I think is going to win the game. And I right now have more confidence in Heine than I do Sims.
Yeah, I think we said it last week. Like if Heine goes out and starts and plays okay, I don't know how you go back to Sims for Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's exactly kind of how it unfolded.
It's about confidence. Like,
yes,
it's about confidence. The team is more confident right now with Heine. And so maybe they're equivalent players, but going to Sims is a mental shift back to unconfidence. Well, that's all it is. The whole team is collectively more, less confident with Sims right now. Now, Sims, maybe he would like play himself out of this and become, the team could be better with him. I just don't know that. All I know is right now, they're less confident with Jeff Sims. Yeah. And they're more confident with Haarberg. So whoever you're more confident with, you go with.
I agree. And to me, this is how I described it. I wrote this down. And I could have added something you said in this. It was well put. But I wrote down Haarberg has been good enough. And Sims was bad enough to where it just doesn't make sense to go back to Sims right now.
That's it.
Like, that's how I would, if someone say, like, you got to neatly package it. I think that's what I'd say.
I like that. That's well said.
Haarberg has been good enough, and Sims was just bad enough.
Yeah.
To where it just doesn't make sense to go back to Sims. And the thing I liked you said is like, what is Sims? Now, you could say the answer to this question is, well, he earned it over the offseason and fall camp, but like Sims hasn't earned, like, it's like it's his job until he loses it. It's like, I think he kind of lost it, didn't he? At least for a little bit. Like
he had, in a lot of people's minds, he had deserved to lose the job. What we don't know was really the off season and the whole off season, spring ball, fall camp. Did he outplay Heine so egregiously that like in the players' minds, it's like, well, Jeff's still our guy. Like that, I don't know. Can't know unless I do not know. I just don't. And like, it's always a little different. The perception to the fans like us or the players who have been in it. So only they know that. But from my seat as a fan, that's what you just said, good enough and just bad enough. That's what I see. And so I see it as we look more confident with Haarberg. We look less confident with Sims.
Yes.
Period.
The other thing I wrote down, I keep hearing, and this, I totally get this because I think coaches always should err on this side of it. And I think this is Ruud just trying to protect Sims and back Sims, but he said it at numerous press conferences and he even said it again after the game yesterday. Ruud said when talking about Sims, he goes, quote, I thought a lot of things happened that everyone's just going to lump on him being Sims. Some of those things weren't his fault. To me, I would love to go, hold on, real quick. Like what? I would love to hear you. So the interception at the end zone at the end of the first half at Minnesota, whose fault was that? The interception overthrowing Billy Kemp in the first half at Minnesota, whose fault was that? The interception at the end of the game when you're trying to drive down the field and he stares down his receiver and the safety goes again, whose fault was that? The dropping a shotgun snap when you're on your first drive at Colorado, whose fault is that? Throwing on 3rd and 13, rolling out and throwing an out that gets picked off by Colorado at the end of the first half. Whose fault is that? Like we can maybe the two I'll go. I will drop those charges.
Yeah.
The exchange between him and Irvin, where I know Klatt said it was his fault. Like, I don't know. To me, I would say inconclusive.
Both.
Yeah. Or the play where the snap hits the motion man. Like, I'm not totally sure on all that, but I keep hearing him say that. I would love to just be like, if I was in New York media, I'm like, hey, I'm Tony from the New York media, and listen to me.
I don't believe this.
This is Pat from Philly. We got a bone to pick with you, Rule. Like what? Like what isn't Sim's fault?
Like what? Huh?
Like what? Tell me that. I got 14 pies in the oven right now that says you can't tell me. Name one. But I just, I keep hearing, and I get it.
I don't think it has anything to do with reality. I think it is like,
he's just trying to
keep my back up.
And he's trying to keep
that's all.
The Husker, because the fans were like, there was a conversation on Twitter during the week of like, if Sim starts, do the fans boo? I'm like, wow, we're at that point.
Well, I think if you're a fan and you boo our own starter,
it's like you
need to get a life.
Right.
But the reality is like, sometimes it's like when you're asked questions, it's like, do you want to be honest and mean, or do you want to just
totally? That's why,
and just kind of talk BS. And so he's going to talk a little BS, and that's fine.
And
I'm okay.
I
with
totally
it.
get it. That's why I prefaced it with like, I get he's just defending him, but it's also just kind of like there gets a point where Pat from Philly and Tony from New York, they got 14 pies in the oven.
Philly takes it pretty literal. He doesn't want any of this innuendo, any of this like talking around the subject here. Just tell it to me straight.
Two guys in aprons covered in pizza dough flour, just like
they got media.
I don't know. They
got there in dough.
Sweat from making pies all day, and they're like, "Hold the phone here. What are you talking about, Rule? With this, it's not all on him stuff."
My name's Vinny. I drive UPS. I took off my ship. I got a question for you, Rule. What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I saw that game with my own two eyes. I was in the shop. I had it up on a thing. Come on, I saw he fumbled it.
I'm a union guy. We tell the truth.
Don't give me that stuff. 14 pies says you can't tell me what's not his fault. 14. That's lunch hour. Okay, I don't know why. I don't know why we're in a pizza shop, but I think
the guys are at the presser in full.
Just shows up. Two guys shows up. Oh god.
Pizza grease all over them. But they have questions for the rule.
And they're not going to give them softballs. Okay, because we're balanced on everything. Some people will say, just comes down to turnovers, man. Haarberg hasn't turned it over. Sims did. Period. End of story. Okay. But I will say this. It ain't like Haarberg has been just rock solid with the ball. Like, I think Pro Football Focus charts this. They chart turnover worthy plays or turnover worthy throws. Haarberg hasn't really turned it over, but he's had 2 interceptions dropped. Northern Illinois linebacker goes through his hands. Louisiana Tech cornerback goes through his hands. He's fumbled the ball 3 times in 2 games. He's only lost 1. He had the blindsides
and 2 blindsides.
Yes, blindsided twice, fumbled them both, and then the exchange. So I also don't want to disingenuously like paint Haarberg like he's like, you're in good hands with all, like we're gonna say, it's not like he's the All-State.
The guy, the deep voice. Yeah. I'd like to say something to you.
I'm Heinrich Haarberg. I choose All-State. You're in good hands.
You're in good heinies with Heinrich.
By the way, have you ever seen a guy?
I want him to swing it a little bit more. Like,
there hits a point for the YouTube. It's like, it's almost obnoxious.
So I always call that the Dan Alexander or the Tiki Barber. So guys who had fumble problems, when you have like fumbleitis,
yes,
they send you to fumble camp. And I think you come out of fumble camp and they tell you it's got to be here, and you never leave it. You don't swing it ever. So it's the most secure way to run with the ball. So I will be okay with it. But like I always think, man, the dudes that just run, they let that thing swing. I was a swing it guy, but I don't know. So we're going to be critical. We can make fun of him, but it's at least safe.
He's not even his whole arm is not even move.
It doesn't even move.
So to me, it's almost amazing. Try to run at top speed without moving.
He ran pretty fast
and he was
not moving that ball.
Right. But so I wanted to bring up that turnover thing where it's like, I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but I just want to paint the whole story.
Well,
like,
I think I would lump Haarberg into that,
the sloppiness.
Because, those were the blown set, like schemes where he got blindsided. Essentially, like, he's a part of that. It's him and Satterfield in the line. Like
he went the wrong way. Or I don't know if it was Grant's fault or whatever. But
and he missed. So part of that's on him for the missed snap. I mean, that is him for the missed snap. Him in the center. Like I blame it on the quarterback more than anybody. But
yeah.
So Heinrichs is not. He's not like he hasn't been shiny and perfect. Like he's been okay.
Yeah.
He's ran good and tough, and he's won games. That's what we're saying.
You know what's weird? And you said this a second ago, talking about their running styles. It's Haarberg's rushing numbers are in 2 games, 40 carries, 255 yards, 6.3 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. And keep in mind, he had a 70-yarder called back.
Yeah.
So dude could have like 300 plus yards rushing in his first 2 starts. He had 19 carries against Louisiana Tech for $157 and a touchdown. Northern Illinois, 21 carries, 98 yards and a touchdown. But what's weird is he's been pretty good when he can just cut it loose and go fast. And he's pretty fast, but he's not. I find myself on a lot of his runs in traffic where I'm like, man, I felt like there's maybe a little more there.
Because Sims is better at that. Like that. Yeah. That's where I say Sims is probably a better runner. Sims can change directions, and I think he has a better feel. Heinrich, he might be faster.
I know.
And, I think he runs almost a little harder, but he's also like almost a little out of control. Like his body control is like, he's kind of all over the place. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like he's a big, strong, fast guy. I just don't think his strength is like, he's not going to shake anybody. I don't think he's,
reads. I don't know how well he like,
I think he just is a guy. It's like, if he runs and there's a seam, like he's 6'4", 230, and he can run.
He can move.
He can book it. I mean, he was running away from people.
Yes.
It's impressive. So like,
yes,
he looked like like that wasn't one of those like donkeys. That was a thoroughbred horse.
That was
running.
Straight up.
That was like
the Kentucky Derby. It was
go, boy, go.
Twins right, 22 chip.
See some guy bringing like a big bale of hay over. He's just like, and Heinrich goes into a little tent, and you're like, what is that guy doing in that tent?
There's someone in the end zone. They hold up a whole bunch of an oat bag, and he's like
Heinrich's he's a little rattled started now, so they put those blinders on. He's like, all right, we're gonna run a QB draw.
They're gonna bring him out like it's this second. Here's the tunnel walk. Here comes Satterfield with Haarberg.
Oh, he's got his blinders on. He must be excited today. He is going to be running hard, folks. He is really excited.
Twins right, 22. It has to be there. By the way.
He's no donkey, Nick.
This powering it over. We're 37 minutes in. I'm not totally sure we've accomplished so far.
We had the pizza pie guy.
Tony and and now Haarberg is getting brought out like it's a Kentucky Derby, and they're like, look at him. It's really, really impressive.
We had the blue collar media. Blue collar
didn't like
they
Rule.
leave their job to ask him.
Don't give me that.
Give
me the truth.
No softballs for Rule.
14 pies. On the line.
What do you mean it's not on him?
It's covered in flour. I mean, so much flour. So much pizza, no flour. It's everywhere. Here's a question I have for you. I wrote down, and I'm not sure. I was trying to go back in my head. Has he pitched it one time in the option?
Nope. I'm
telling you, if I'm Harbaugh in Michigan, now granted, he's also because he's house called him, like. Because I'm curious to see how he is, because there's an art to that of how to pitch, when to pitch, being accurate with the pitch. Like the next step in this thing, I mean, obviously you want to take quarterback first, right? Like I would think.
Yeah, I think Chattel had it in his column today. He talked about they're running true option, and he noticed I think that he hasn't had to pitch yet, and usually like if you're running option. That's the case. Pitch, and then they rally to pitch, and you have to get good at it. And like, can he do it? I mean, that's a whole nother ballgame. But yeah, I think people weren't expecting true option out of us.
I think here's my prediction. I think Michigan, the first option, I think they're going to be told light Haarberg up and make him pitch it. First of all, you get a shot. You get take a shot at the QB, right? Yeah. And I want to see him be able to pitch it and what that looks like. Because Sims pitched a few, but it was a little like kind of my comfort level.
Nick, we grew up around 90s Nebraska football. Like our understanding of what is good option quarterback play is probably pinnacle option football play. Yeah. Because it goes Frazier, Frost, Crouch.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like Brooke. Brooke could run it.
Yeah, Brooke could run it. Jamal Lord could run it.
Yes.
It's funny. They mentioned Jamal Lord's name in the paper today because they mentioned Crowder, and I thought, of all the people, like there's a bit of, I think Haarberg and Sims are both like a little in the Jamal Lord world of like, that's what they could be. Is they could be a guy that can run option, throw it when you need to throw it. Like, yeah. But like, they're bigger guys. Jamal's big dude. 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds, could run. And you could have an offense with him as one of your A or B runner. And that was the last time we did that at Nebraska, was Jamal Lord 2003.
Right.
We won 10 games with him running the ball, throwing a little bit. We had shifted from true option to sort of like a hybrid option, like spread attack with Barney Cotton. And we were able to win games, and I think this year, that's probably our best case scenario, is like finding almost the Jamal Lord 2003. Wasn't pretty. We had to play a lot of really good defense that year, but you can win games running the ball, controlling the clock, playing good defense. That was the Jamal Lord year.
I totally agree. It's a good call because Lord was.
He wasn't great, but
he's big. He was bigger than you thought he was.
He ran hard. He was a good runner, and we threw it, not a ton, but like we made, we tried to throw it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little fuzzy to me thinking back to 3.
All right.
Yeah.
It is tough. Much. But bottom line, you were in agreement. I mean, you went as far as to say when the sun came up, no quarterback controversy. I just don't know what it really looks like to go back to Sims. I don't.
No, you go to Sims
once if Heine starts to struggle, or
the beauty of not playing Sims is the story you can tell your team is if like Heine gets the next couple games and plays terrible, you can go back to Sims and say, now Sims is healthy and he's been our guy all along.
Right.
And he's you got that to fall back on. If you go to Sims and then it goes terrible and go back to Heine, I guess you could do it the other way, but I actually like it keeping the momentum with Heine.
I agree. So
instead of breaking the momentum, you keep the momentum, you keep the confidence, and then you have, if that goes off, you can go back to Sims.
And I'm under this assumption that like Nebraska is going to need both guys for the rest of the season. At some point, each of them are going to be out there, and so I'm not as caught up in that. But I'm also at the same time feel like I'm in agreement with you. Like again, Haarberg has been good enough, and Sims has been bad enough that it just doesn't make sense to go back to Sims.
Yeah, and we'll see this modern era. Like we're talking about Jamal Lord, Crouch, Frost, and Frazier. Like those guys were special guys that they could run the ball 10, 20 times every game for a whole season.
Yeah,
for multiple years. Like I just don't know if Haarberg or Sims are themselves able to do that. They didn't grow up doing that like that. Not option football, not college level stuff. So you're going to probably need them both. And especially like the message that Satterfield gave us was like, we're going to run that quarterback. And I totally agree with it. And I'll give him credit that he finally just sort of committed to like, we needed to do that because the offense wasn't going to move we tried. In the first half, we tried to do it in another way. It just didn't really happen. So you just say, all right, now we need to do it this way to manufacture some offense.
I totally agree. Okay, coming up, we got to get into the defense. We haven't even talked about the defense really yet. Mm-hmm. I want to get more into some special team stuff. And then there's some other things towards the end of the game that I want to get into. But our presenting sponsor again for these game recap pods is Onyx Automotive. You go on the website, onyxautomotive.com, and they got it all right there. BMW, Mini, Jaguar, Land Rover, the Onyx service. It's a luxury car dealer, the number one luxury dealer in Omaha. And they give you that luxury feel. A bottle of wine. You and I have had the Onyx wine. It's delicious. It was fantastic with a vehicle purchase. But again, they offer leading industry brands, BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover. I've told you I need to get me a white Range Rover. Come on, guys, make it happen for me. Great location, 150th and Dodge. Check them out online, onyxautomotive.com. Onyxautomotive.com. Support those who support us. We love that they're the presenting sponsor in these game recaps. Drive Onyx, the new standard. And this pod is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. There's a great video I saw around because I got to see it going through their showroom. All the different tests that these Pella windows go through before they're installed in your home. Extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme rain. I mean, these things go through a boot camp and then some before they get installed into your home. And then when that process starts of getting them installed in your home, it can be confusing because, let's be honest, we don't know a ton about windows, us being the general public. Pella holds your hand through the whole process. First of all, they got those 2 showrooms, one in Omaha, one in Lincoln. Really helps to go there, feel the window, feel the door, open it, close it, give you a better sense of what you're putting into your home. And if you're not sure exactly what you want to do, you can get a free in-home consultation. That's right, free, where you get a Pella expert to come out to your home, and they'll be able to put together a game plan that fits your budget, your wants, and your needs. PellaOmaha.com. Check them out online, PellaOmaha.com. And Shoot360 Lincoln. Again, go to the website, shoot360.com/Lincoln. Fill out that I'm interested form. We're just a couple of weeks away from our grand opening, October 14th. We are open for business, and I couldn't be more excited. All you need to know is when you get in the shooting bays, they have something called the splash meter, where they are tracking every single shot you take, arc, depth, and alignment, every single shot you take, okay? And you're getting real-time feedback instantly. And if you line all 3 of those elements up in what they call the splash zone, you are going to make 98% of your shots. 98% of your shots, good shooters, it's about replicating the motion over and over again. This allows you to do this. It's like a cheat. It's like you got the cheat code to becoming a good shooter. So go to shoot360.com/Lincoln, become a member. You got videos there as well that'll help you kind of paint the picture. We couldn't be more fired up for what we're going to be able to provide the Lincoln basketball community. Okay, Bo Ruud. The defense. Didn't think it was there. I thought it was not their sharpest game. We kind of bragged on a couple of things with the defense, that the tackling had been rock solid. I thought the tackling wasn't as sharp, especially in the first half. I thought it got better in the second half, especially their 1 touchdown run. You had 2 guys do the classic kind of missile and not wrap up, and their running back bounced off them and was able to get it in there. We said there weren't very many busts either. There were more guys running free in this game than the last 3 games. And then the other thing that was interesting, 0 sacks in this game. You had 14 sacks through the first 3 games, 0 in this game. And I think the final stat was only 4 TFLs. So all of a sudden the disruption, now some of I thought I saw, they were rolling, they were doing a lot of sprint outs. Yeah. That makes it hard, right? Sure. But just that pass rush and that disruption wasn't as prevalent as it had been. Yeah, it wasn't a bad game. It was more just like, to me, it looked like they weren't quite as dialed in as I think they had been the 3 previous games. They seemed dialed in. Yes. They seemed a little less dialed in this game to me. That's 1. And then 2, I don't think they played bad. They didn't tackle quite as good. In the end, they played good enough to win. Yeah. But I do think that no star power in the pass rush is going to catch up with them eventually. We do not have anybody right now that can win 1-on-1 on a pass rush consistently. Right. I'm not seeing it. Right. So, I do think, that Leinart, him being out hurts. Noonan and a couple of these young guys down the road can do it. But I mean, Polar Bear, Ty, Gunnarsson, and Jamari
MJ Sherman, they're not showing me they can win right now. These are the games. I always thought these first 3 or 4 games of the years where you get your you pad the stats, man. Like you get those three sack games, get some cheapies against the La Techs, against the Northern Illinois. It's like that's where you want to get your multiple sack games where the sacks are a little bit easier to come by. So we just haven't seen anybody through the start of the year that's like they're gonna win. They're gonna win 1-on-1, which is not easy to do, but I think we're lacking a star, somebody to change the dynamic on that defensive line. And the rest of our defense, I think our D-line, our linebackers, our second, I think they're solid players. We're lacking the star pass rush.
I agree. The thing that'll be really interesting about this week now is Nebraska has been consistent. The one thing this defense has done through 4 games is stop the run.
Yeah.
Like stone cold shut it down pretty much. Louisiana Tech had 46 yards rushing. This is a top 5 or top 10 rush defense. But Colorado, not that, they want to air it out. Minnesota, they want to run it, but this isn't a vintage Minnesota kind of team. Northern Illinois, not great. And now all of a sudden here comes Blake Corum in Michigan. This is gonna be interesting to see if this defense can stop the run.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I think.
Here's what I'll say is I think the Polar Bear has played the best football at anybody in that defense in terms of what I thought his ability was and how well he has played. He's been playing really good football.
Agree.
We need Robinson to play up to his level like the Polar Bear's playing. And if those two guys are stout, we have a decent chance against the run. But like you said, it's going to be a team effort. Everybody has to be good against Michigan. They are experts at running the ball, even though they're going to run it, and finding that little detail and exposing you. And they will expose you. If you're not detailed, they will expose you. I promise.
Yeah.
They're great at it. That's what they do. They exposed Ohio State last year. They ran it all over Ohio State the last 2 years. They've embarrassed them, right? They're great at that. So you better be very, very dialed in and ready to be physical and to play that way for 4 straight quarters.
Well, and I don't think Weaver's good, or Weaver, whoever the Colorado running back, I'm blanking on his name now.
Is it Edwards? Dylan
Edwards, yeah. Edwards is good, but he's more of a in space good, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like Corum, they haven't seen anybody like Corum.
Yeah, he'll run between the tackles, he'll run outside, he'll be all around back.
Yes. So the one thing that I said, the tackling eroded a little bit in this game. It just wasn't quite as sharp, but there still was some of those smoke screens to smoke, God, Hartzog made some great tackles in those spots. Newsom did. It was Singleton. Was it Singleton that had the huge hit?
Singleton had a big hit. Yep.
That ran through.
Newsom had a couple misses though, where he was doing the body.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not thinking of the right guy. Maybe it wasn't Newsom. Hartzog had a couple of nights. So, but those kinds of things, they're going to have to be rock solid. The one thing that hopefully Reimer, I don't know what Rule didn't seem to think that this was going to be a long-term thing, but boy, you need him. You need him on the field.
Yeah, you need him. Like I said, Henrich is such a solid guy, and Bullock is a smaller guy that's moved down from safety, so they use him a little bit with the coverage and
yes.
But you need Reimer. He's your most complete best linebacker. We need him. He's got the playmaker instinct too. Yeah. They need him out there. So, I just now that you're talking about it, my mind went right to 2021, the game me and you were at together in the stands. And I just remember this picture. This is what I remember most about that game is it was the 4th quarter and Ben Stille was walking off the field. And it was one of those things where I could see that this guy had just been in a fist fight. It was that game was
it's funny. I knew exactly what you're going to say. Yeah.
And those guys rose to the challenge, and Michigan was physical as hell.
Yeah.
And it was this physical battle that we hadn't had anything close to that all year. And I remember just seeing Stille walk off the field, and I was like,
It's
that
funny.
guy was a warrior, but like it was like almost on empty, but he was still going, that's what Michigan does to you.
Right.
They play that style of football.
That's
and you just don't get that.
Right.
And man, it was just like a bloodbath.
You're right. I knew exactly that. For whatever reason, that was one of the lasting images. Where our seats where he was walking right at us, and it looked like, you ever watch like either a boxing match or a UFC where it's like it's the final round, and the guys stand up and they're walking to the and it's like they are like dead.
That was it, and that's how you know that game was a great game.
Because I mean, you're right, it was a 4-quarter just bloodbath.
We lost that game, and it's one of the most memorable games I've ever been to because of how much we wanted it, how much our team really played as good as they could play for a lot of it, and they just gave it away at the very, very end.
But you bring that up to say like this will be now. Okay, Michigan, Polar Bear.
Though, like
here we go.
That's the challenge for Polar Bear and Ty is like if we even want to have a chance, they're going to have to play and look like Stilly looked walking off the field in 21. Which is like borderline, like how is he still standing type of stuff.
Right. And that's why there's a lot of things that I'm excited about with this game. And I want to see how good this defense is with a Michigan team that is about that life.
Yep.
Like, okay, you want to stand toe to toe and just throw. Like, here comes another fighter that would love to do that.
Yeah.
And we'll see if these guys can do it.
They play how we want to play.
Yeah.
That's been their MO. I think that's I think what Rule and Satterfield, if they could say, what team could we emulate? It's not the old Oregon teams, right?
It's not Ohio State.
It would be Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I would see. And I would like it.
I would like that very much. Rule, I would very much like that.
I like it.
I'll take it.
I'd like it a lot.
I'll like it a lot. Any other thing with the defense before I move on to there's
no, I don't think so.
I mean, again, I thought the no sacks was interesting, no tackles for loss, but still held a team to 46 yards rushing. The rubber's going to meet the road this weekend. I mean, the
rush defense has been very good.
The rush defense has been good, man. They have completely stoned 4 straight teams, and so you got to tip your cap for that. Special teams. We went over some of this stuff, but gave up a 100-yard kickoff return, missed a 41-yard field goal. You had the fake field goal that set up the touchdown on the jet sweep to Billy Kemp. They did at one point pen Louisiana Tech at the 4-yard line on a punt, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
So the special teams has been a little bit of a mixed bag. You got a couple of bad punts and a couple. Did they kick a field goal out of bounds too? Yesterday,
2 kickoffs.
So it's like that's got to stop. The thing. Are we a little worried about Tristan Alvano? It's only been he's 1 for 3 on the season.
Not yet.
It's the sample size is so small.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That next one better go through the upright stuff.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden you're like, ugh. So he's doinked one off the upright, and then he missed this one bad against Louisiana Tech. But he's 1 for 3 on the season. He's a true freshman. He's got a big leg. But it'll be interesting because special teams can't be not bad. No. With how this offense is, special teams needs to, at the end of the year, we need to be talking about like special teams was awesome every game.
Yeah.
Because with how this offense is, you're not going to win if special teams if you're giving up kickoff returns or you're not, that ain't going to happen.
I mean, if you're bad, we will lose games. That's the difference is we just got to be like solid. We don't have to be the greatest. We have to be at least solid because if we're bad, we will lose games.
It is now, even though it's a little tongue in cheek, but I love the moxie of Tommy Hill trying to return everything. It is unreal. I said that like Ramir Johnson was the Michael Myers of like, you can't like Tommy Hill's becoming that. Like, how does Tommy Hill has been given every opportunity in the world.
Here's my issue with Tommy Hill. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him. I don't know how he works in practice. I don't know any of that. All I know is that they give him offense and defense, like all these like
opportunities.
Like you get to get the long ball play.
You get to get the reverse.
You get the kickoff. like in my opinion, I think he's the guy in practices. I'll do that. He's the guy that always wants to
runs
do
to the front line.
He's the front of the line. Like, I'll take it back. I ain't scared. Like he's that guy. But I'm also like, I don't trust him yet. I don't trust him on offense or defense. And they seem to give him like big responsibilities. And every time he's in, I actually I'm like, oh, I don't trust it.
Well, so he got beat on the 3rd and 10 in the third quarter at Colorado.
Zero coverage, staring in the backfield.
He had the pass interference called on him. I think that might have been the Northern Illinois game.
Yeah.
He gets a reverse. It gets stuffed.
Two deep balls.
He's gotten the 2 deep balls to him. And then when Ramir goes down, he goes out there as the kickoff returner.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how this guy just keeps getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity.
And to me, it's like that's one more opportunity that like I don't know if that Malachi Coleman's ready. I
Right.
don't know if Marcus Washington likes the deep ball, but like like if there's a deep ball, I want the best receiver getting it. So if you think Tommy Hill's the best receiver, maybe that's where we're at. And like I just go, I don't trust him yet. I don't trust him to make the play.
It's just now it's a win. It should be very illuminating in a bad way of how scary this wide receiver situation is, where you're having to take a defensive back who's caught a grand total of like 1 ball his whole college career. I think he caught 1 last year at Rutgers. Maybe I don't know. I have this memory of that, but and you're bringing a defensive back over to the offensive side of the ball, and you're running go routes with him and giving him the ball in reverses.
I'm just like, I'm a big guy about like trust. Do I trust you? And I just have never trusted him. Like, he got all this hype coming out last year, and then like he struggled. He
really struggled
early that you could argue that like
he was one of the main culprits.
It was like throwing slants on him every play because he didn't recognize they're going to throw the slant on you again.
Right.
Like that happened against Georgia Southern and Purdue. It was like pick on Tommy Hill,
No. And so it's just interesting to me how like, again, another go route. He's on the kickoff. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being harsh on him, but
but it's just,
I'm trying to understand. I mean, it's like we're treating him like Travis Hunter. I'm like, he's not Travis Hunter.
No. I mean,
I'm like saying, I don't know he's good enough to be a starter on either side of the ball, which he clearly isn't. So like, why are we giving him the special treatment?
Right. It's like he's not a starter on either side of the ball yet in big moments.
It's like, let's get Tommy.
Get Tommy out there.
So then what does that say? Like,
so it's like,
what is it about him? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know him. I don't know his story. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He's got to be doing something in practice.
Why is he so compelling to these coaches that he's gotten every big trick play and every big deep ball in offense? And then he's the kickoff returner, and even, huge third down on the road at Colorado, a corner locked up in man coverage on Travis Hunter or Weaver is Tommy Hill. Yeah.
Like that's a big responsibility, and it just seems like he's always, not always, he's just more often than not been like given the like, all right, Tommy, big moment, here you go. So it's
almost like assume, of course, we got to get Tommy this chance.
Yeah, you're like really?
What about somebody else?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like I want to see Cole. Like, I don't know. Just send Coleman on a go route one time, see what happens.
I don't know. I don't know. And
that's the thing is, you got to assume
Coleman's ready, but I'm just saying, like, Tommy's never been out there. Like, oh, it looks like he's the one that can really go make the play. I don't see it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Real quick. So after the lightning weather delay, which, by the way, was bizarre on, being on like the south side of town versus where the stadium was at. It was like torrential downpour at the stadium and lightning, and it was didn't get a drop over in South Lincoln, and it was sunny. It was so bizarre to be watching the game on TV and being like, the weather delay. What are people talking about? But whatever.
Yeah.
Real quick, there was a version of the end of that game that could have gotten really stressful.
Yeah.
Now, couldn't wait to hear the press conference as to why Haarberg didn't go back out there as the quarterback. Because I thought, like, man, if you guys thought this game was on ice and you wanted to get Chuba out there and didn't go back with Haarberg, I was not going to be happy about that. But apparently he tightened up. I don't know if it was a cramp or something like that. So they didn't bring him back out there. They throw Chuba out there. But so Nebraska's defense, and this is it's hard to stop for 57 minutes or whatever it was, then come back out and play defense. It's not easy, right? Up 28-7. But Louisiana Tech marches down the field and scores 28-14. They kick the ball off. Chuba's at quarterback. They run 5 plays and have to punt it. And these are just these little things. Louisiana Tech called a timeout after a second down with about 3 minutes left. Then it was 3rd and 13 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. And Marcus Satterfield, instead of running the ball on 3rd and 13, let's not risk an interception and let's force Louisiana Tech to call another timeout.
Yeah.
What do? They throw a go route to guess who?
Tommy Hill?
Tommy Hill.
Yeah.
And of course, it's incomplete. It saves a timeout for Louisiana Tech. And then Louisiana Tech drives the ball to the Nebraska side of the field with just under a minute left. Ball gets batted up in the air. Gifford intercepts it. Ball game. So all is well that ends well. But there just was a version of, like, maybe Louisiana Tech drives down and squirts one in and it's 28-21 and then it's an onside kick. And so for me, I'm just like, but I go to that 3rd and 13 with 2:50 left. It's like, it's stuff like that play call for me is just like, what are you doing?
The equivalent is this. We were just talking about, we were watching Notre Dame, Ohio State last night. Notre Dame gave me flashbacks to the last 5 years. Like, they had that game won and they stop Ohio State in 4th and 1, 4 minutes to go. The 4-minute offense is you keep the clock running, and they start out by taking a 10-yard loss on this play. They throw a screen pass that should have been picked for a score.
Yeah.
And instead it's still incomplete, which stops the clock.
Yep.
And so they basically, like, they lose any chance of getting a real first down by running it. They throw it and stop the clock. And so they give Ohio State the ball back. They drop an interception. But that one or two, so that one play they throw, what does the game come down to?
1 second, pretty much.
1 second. Yeah. So, I mean, of course they would have had to change what they do, but they only had time to get the ball down and clock it with 3 seconds to go. So that is your 30 seconds of pressure you didn't get to put on them.
Yes.
So then they're not getting to drive how they got to drive. They'd have to force it down the field. That is the difference that these, like, offensive coordinators, I swear to God, they just don't understand that, like, when the game is yours, your job is to not lose the game. They want to go win the game.
Right.
And I just think,
and I get it. It's like Nebraska, it ends 28-14
but that's the example. Notre Dame
that is an example.
That's the example of, they should go look at that and go, we will never let ourselves throw the ball incomplete ever again. When we're playing a game, we got to win. It's under 4 minutes, and we just need to run the ball 3 times, take your 40 second run off, punt it, and make them beat you.
It's just, it's the 3 straight passes at Minnesota when they're up 10-3.
Yeah.
With about 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter. It's the decision from Sims on 3rd and long to scramble and run out of bounds at the end of the first half at Colorado that saves a timeout, which, oh, by the way, they were able to call timeout with a second left to kick a field goal. Like, or there's this 3rd and 13, 2:50 left. Instead of running the ball, making them call another timeout, you throw a 40-yard go route to a player that has not caught a go route yet with your 3rd string quarterback. Yeah. And it's just like,
do you know what it is?
What are you doing?
I really think this. I think there is something about offensive coordinators that they play, in the game, they think, we win if we score more than they do. And I think this is a game that you play with a clock.
Right.
All you got to do is have more points when the clock expires. And that's a different mindset.
It is. It sounds like you're semantics, but it's different.
Because to me, what happens is when the game gets on the line, they think I'm going to go score more points so they couldn't beat us no matter what. When I say is that clock is going to run out, I'm going to make it run out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you beat me while I put all the pressure on you with that clock running out.
Right.
I play to the clock. And I think offensive coordinators, they always play to the score.
Yes.
They want to get more points.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I want to make it impossible for them to get more points in
or as hard as you can possibly make it for the opposition to
put so
score
much
more
pressure and leave so little time. And that's where the pressure comes from. There's so little time for them to do what they need to do to score points.
Right.
That's the difference between offense and defensive minded people. And I can't stand losing a game. And I can't stand it.
And I know we're sitting here
should
like
be kicking themselves.
But it's just that's a little isolated moment that I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm like, what? Am I the only one that's a little like, and maybe I have so much PTSD of the last 5, 6, 7 years of Nebraska football that I've seen enough crazy stuff where you think there's no way you lose this game and Nebraska finds a way to lose this game, where I was sitting there like, man, this thing if this thing comes down to an onside kick with 30 seconds left, whew,
Nick,
you don't want
Nick, we have seen it in every conceivable way.
So
we are becoming, Nebraska fans are becoming experts in understanding how you lose games.
And to me, that's one thing. 3rd and 13.
We have a PhD. We just went to college for 5 years.
Yes.
We got our master's. We got our PhD in how to lose games. We know. That's how you lose it.
That's how you lose it. 3rd and 13, 2:50 left. Instead of just running the ball, making them call a timeout.
It's boring. It's so boring. It's so vanilla. It's so safe. It's so safe. It's almost sickening. But you know what you don't do? You don't give them the game. They have to beat you.
Yes. And it's one thing, I still would disagree with it. But let's say everything's the same, but instead it's Shedeur Sanders throwing a go route on 3rd and 13 to Travis Hunter. I still disagree with the school of thought.
Yeah.
But I also have like the best quarterback in the country with one of the most electric players in the country. Like I can wrap my mind around that
more. Yeah.
But that was Chubba Purdy and Tommy Hill. I'm like,
I want to see him do it 2 on 0.
How about you do it one time before you do it with 3rd and 13?
That's what I'm saying.
I
just don't like. That's where these guys, they don't think the way that I think about it right now is it's about the clock. It's about winning at all costs, which means being so boring. You'd be sickening if you're an offense coordinator. Like, oh my God, they're in zero coverage. That terrible cornerbacks on our guy. Like, this is a touchdown. If we just call no chances. We make them beat us. We grind the clock. It's systematic. It's so boring.
Yes.
But gosh, you know what? You make them beat you.
The theme of this pod has been like, never look past something in victory you wouldn't in defeat.
Yeah.
And I think there just were a lot of things there were a lot of good things, but there were a lot of things in that game that were like, man, got away with that.
It's perfect that the Notre Dame thing happened.
Yeah, that's because that's a real time.
I was sweating for Notre Dame. I go, they have it. It's theirs. Like they had all the mojo. Their defense did it. All they had to do was run it out.
Yeah.
And make Ohio State wasn't like they couldn't do what they wanted to do in that defense.
Right.
But then it's like you gave them that extra 30, 40 seconds, It's like, God dang.
Okay. We'll wrap it up there. Look at us. Tight little hour and 15 minutes.
We're getting tighter.
We're getting real tight on this thing. Shouts out to Onyx Automotive. Shouts out to Pella Windows and Doors. Shouts out to Shoot 360 Lincoln. And we will be back midweek pod, big week, big game week. I've had this game circled for quite some time. Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh coming to town. So make sure you're keeping it locked. Subscribe to the podcast. Keep watching that, whether it's a YouTube feed or the podcast feed. We'll be back in a couple of days to give our official Michigan prediction. In the meantime, give me where's the ball? Give me the 5 points of pressure. Give me it up top, Haarberg style. And let's...
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.